So, Maxine, how are you, man?
Good, thank
good?
you. Yeah.
I'm taking a last look at my notes here. I have plenty notes here. How are you? I'm lucky to be in Trinidad. This is real coincidence, right?
Yes.
Was this vacation, work? Where
you know,
up to?
I came for the AmCham conference. It was a tech conference. So I gave a keynote there and did a panel all about AI.
Oh, that went?
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Full room, you know, a lot of CEOs, some startup people, technocrats, just people interested in how we leverage AI to do more in the region and, you know, what the concerns are and how you do the better.
Got you. I always wonder when we say AI and when you hear AI, if we're hearing the same things, you know?
I think we are hearing the same things. We're talking about technology which is more intelligent than we have seen before. And at this stage, we're talking about technology which can understand natural language and look at images and audio in context and produce things. So generative AI, right? There's different forms.
Right.
I think we're talking about the same thing. What people seem to be thinking about here is how we use it.
Gotcha.
Do we have the skills to even apply it? What would be the situations in which we would do that? What do you guard against? So it's new, it's early days, but moving very, very rapidly. So there was also a concern, are we going to be left behind if we...
Of course. I remember one of the discussions being, will human employment be a thing still? You remember them days?
Yes.
Is
that's
that
still
a
a
discussion?
discussion. Yeah. And proponents would say, no, it's going to augment. And that was a theme yesterday in the conference as well. It will augment human productivity. You can now focus on higher level things and not do repetitive tasks that the AI could do for you.
Sure.
But there are still some people who are concerned. It will make change.
Yeah, of course.
That is for sure.
We're seeing it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Like one of my examples is, and I'm not nowhere near the leading edge of technology or anything, but the podcast host that I use creates a transcript for every episode. It says, Corie asked, so Maxine responded. What I was most impressed by at the time was how it understood our accents. I always feel as though sometimes our accent going to get left out of these things, but it's pretty accurate.
Well, so that depends on what it is trained on. For instance, we have an open source AI model called Llama.
Right.
And we've done two things in our training. One, in relation to what you're talking about with accents and language, etc. One is called casual conversations, where we went out and took video data from people across many different countries, across many different characteristics, looking at different skin tone, different, language, different genders, different disabilities, even bodily adornments. You have tattoos, whatever. And training the models to recognize all of this difference so that it has the context, so that it can relate to you on that difference. Then we have something called massively multilingual AI, where we have put 1,100 languages into it, including languages which are disappearing or languages which are not the dominant ones. So Haitian Creole.
Got it.
Is in there.
I see.
So it's trained on that, so that if you speak Haitian Creole, you might be doing what you just did, which said, I couldn't believe it understands me,
course,
right?
Of course.
But you have to train the model on that. So part of the concerns people often have is the AI going to be biased?
Right.
You know, it depends on who builds it.
Yes.
And who builds it does matter. But if you're building with intent to represent the world, then you can deliberately include the world.
Yeah, by design. So I have to tell people your role. Tell me if I'm saying it right? VP, Head of Engagement and Accessibility. How I do?
Yes, accessibility and engagement.
All right. Not bad. So what is really the role of your Meta? What does that role encompass?
It is to make sure that we are building products that are accessible to everybody and bringing value to people. So accessible typically means in this realm, you're looking to see that the products can be used by everyone. And then value is that, is it bringing value to people? So I might say, well, these Ray-Ban glasses, right? Have we made them such that people with all kinds of disabilities can use them? And then are they valuable to those people? This, for instance, people who are blind or low vision are in love with these glasses.
Oh, no, you're talking to me.
No, it's revolutionized people's lives. I can't tell you the messages I get and things people say, because you put on these glasses and with the integration of the AI, they can tell you where you are, what's in front of you. Is there a curb there at the side? what is the room? Think of it, if you arrive somewhere, you know this, you take a ride share and they drop you off. You say you've arrived, but you don't know which door. That happened to me today, right?
All right, you're right.
With the glasses on, it will tell them there's a gray door in front of you. It says
okay, so
XYZ.
audibly it'll tell you.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh. And you're asking it by voice. Tell me what's in front of me. But also, again, imagine I'm a blind person and I'm home and my mail reach in the mailbox. Read this mail to me. Summarize this text for me.
And you just have the glasses on like normal.
Correct. You go to a restaurant, tell me what is vegan on this menu.
Right.
If I've had lunch before with 6 blind people and me. And it's me saying, y'all, there's some extra fries over here, or they do have chicken. Now, independence. With these glasses, with the AI in them, it's telling them everything in their surroundings.
I see.
And giving information. It's revolutionary technology.
Yeah, it's like the Jetsons kind of thing.
Right. So when I say bringing value,
I understand.
That's real value.
Yeah, I was looking up on wearables. Like my area is marketing. So a lot of times when we lecture in marketing, a big part of it has to do with what the future is going to look like. You know, you're trying to anticipate what the needs are to deliver on them. And wearable technology was an interesting area for me in terms of how much health benefits. You're talking about vision, but for people who might have issues hearing. Like I had Glenn Niles here recently. He's the head of the Down Syndrome Association, but a strong advocate for people with disabilities in general. And some of these things is, so helpful. Like somebody like him, I'm sure he'll be taking this in.
I mean, and across different disabilities, right? So closed captioning. So you just talked about transcription. Right. Transcription powered by AI, which makes it very easy to do now. Think of that for people who have ADHD and focus and attention. Is that now you get the information in a different format where you can process it differently. With wearables, we are working on something called EMG, which are wristbands that respond to your muscular signals. Right. And it's so sensitive that it can respond to people who don't even have 5 fingers, don't have a hand. But it knows from the muscle signals what you want to do. And we can use those to help you navigate a computer. So people who have spinal cord injuries or people who have tremors and can't use it in the way you can, now can have a different human-computer interaction.
Of course.
Using this wearable. So
inputs that we mightn't even be able to detect ourselves.
You can.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
So Meta is now in its own way. Hardware is a big part of what you're committed to it.
Yes, very committed.
Yeah, I see. I always saw it.
Think of it's a form factor, right? If you're trying to get to presence. Right. So we started with, we want to connect the world. I mean, that's happening, right? With 4 billion people using the product. And then into this area now with metaverse and presence being a very big thing. When I describe the glasses, if you put the glasses on, there's now no barrier between you and what you're experiencing. Whereas if you hold up your phone, think of if you go to your son's football game. Right. When you hold up that phone to record what's happening, it kind of interrupts the experience for you. Yes. With the form factor of the glasses carrying the AI and recording and all of that, whatever you're looking at, you're telling it, record this for me. And now you can be completely present in there.
I gotta get my one for my wife. We just come from vacation and that's all we deal with.
I just went to Malta by myself. Right. And I use these glasses to navigate the whole place. What's this church? What's the history of that? But I could be present in this space while that was happening. And so the hardware is a means to arrive at the present. Same thing for, the Quest headsets. You're immersed in this space.
Of course, yeah, the headset's starting to become one of those things now. Like my son has been asking, he's like, he wants to get the headset. I think a part of the hesitation for me, and he'll tell me if there's something that you hear a lot, like as a parent, I feel like, I could see the TV and I could see the phone and the other thing. But when he put on his headset, I know what's going on.
Yeah, I understand that. that. Now, you upload apps into the headset same way you might on a phone. So you can also control.
Yeah, well, I can.
Well, you don't know how to do that. Okay.
He's going to be left to his own devices, literally.
Yeah, well, right, yeah. And sometimes the children are leading the way. Like they are more tech savvy.
Yeah, they are. That's good though.
Yeah.
I like that.
Look, it is a tool for us. It is a tool to, again, augment, to help us live lives which are different. I don't have space where I live for a table tennis board. My son liked to play table tennis.
Right.
We have 2 headsets.
I see.
We knock in all the time. In a space this small, we are able to play table tennis with a table tennis app in the metaverse, in the headset. It's so real.
Yeah. Some of it I always feel I'm they used to have this thing called diffusion or innovation. I'm a laggard. Anything come out new, I way behind.
You're not an early adopter.
Not by far. And I a part of it for me is, I guess, not understanding or I guess fear of it or whatever it might be. So even when you talk about these things, before we started, when you said they had the Ray-Bans, I was asking like, is a prototype or so? I didn't, not realizing that
been out for years.
We here, yeah. And how is it doing? Like people
incredibly well.
Yeah.
Flying off the shelves. Now, it is not in every market yet.
Got it.
So it is not sold in Trinidad yet, for instance. And we just launched in India in May.
Right.
Because, it's new, but boy.
You think it'll get here? It'll get eventually. The goal is so.
I mean, we still building out business model and,
Got it.
Looking at sales. And then as the AI is getting better and better, it's surprising us as well.
Of course.
All of the use cases.
I would imagine. So I was telling you before we started that I remember back some time ago, I saw this article and they say somebody from Trinidad big in Facebook. Guys, I can't remember the headline, but read something like that. And everybody was like, hey, we once you have it could be Olympics, it could be business, it could be music. Once Trini's accomplished something somewhere, we feel proud, we feel really, really good. And I remember the announcement at the time being about diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI.
Yeah.
I would say for in the local market, still a very new term at that time. What year was that? Was it 13, 12, 13?
Yes. 13.
We were. Let me talk about the academics, right? No, I see. There's no class I do at particularly at master's level, at MBA level, that they don't have some discussion around it. Even if the case, like for last time we had to do a marketing plan, but the company was a DEI consultant. So they're starting to be, and those programs are from England, right? But I don't know that in 2012, 13, there was a big discussion around it happening here. And when you were appointed, I think if anybody else was like me, is like, okay, so what is this? What is this thing? So, that's my broad question, for
what
people
is DEI?
When they talk about DEI.
Yeah, that's a charged question right now. So here what it is for me.
Sure.
It is a means to identify spaces where we are losing the opportunity from the potential of everyone. If we have created systems where certain people in certain groups are left out, not because they don't have the skills, not because they don't merit to be in, but because we make assumptions about the group that they're from. And as a result of that, we do not get the benefit of their productivity, of their engagement. Then to me, we're losing out as a society. And what DEI was a series of strategies, initiatives in order to identify the value, the potential, and give opportunity to everyone. So you want to take away the things that are barriers to entry, such as bias, stereotypes. I worked with Sheryl Sandberg for a number of years, who was the COO of Facebook. And one of the most brilliant lines she ever delivered, she would say often, only one of two things is true. You have to believe one of these two statements. Right. Either you have to believe that women are not as smart as men, or you believe that something is getting in the way of women being in equal leadership positions to men. Only one of those two things can be true, right?
Of course.
So maybe you believe they're not as smart as men, and that's what explains the fact that only, 19, and I think now it's gone up to 27% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women.
Right. Okay.
And don't ask if we got into race on that.
Yeah, sure.
Way less. And you say, well, that's because they're not as smart.
Mm-hmm.
But if you believe them to be as smart as, then what is getting in the way?
Mm-hmm.
And it tends to be a system which is biased, which assumes that men are more, they're stronger leaders, or they're smarter, or they are more effective, or whatever. And what DI was doing was getting strategies in place so that it was merit, in fact, which led the way.
Yeah.
And I could put that on different categories, whether it's women or race or sexual orientation, disability, right? A lot of things get in the way based on assumptions and not based on merit. And so for me, DEI was developing strategies to clear all of that out so we could get the best people
But I had to ask you, so you had to go through some kind of an audit that said, okay, these are the areas of inequity. Like when you say race or gender or sexuality, you have to get to a broad spectrum of where inequalities lie.
Yeah, I mean, you do the audit yourself, or you're looking for research, you're looking for data.
Got it.
And there are many different sources to that. I can look to see how many women are graduating with computer science degrees.
Right.
I work at a tech company. And, at that time, we were hiring 2013, 2014 is really the period. We were hiring fast, heavy growth. And we're looking for anybody who could do computer science, who could do data structures and algorithms is our particular thing. But, and you're looking at the graduation rate and seeing that, okay, only 18% of the graduates are women.
Right.
Boy, that's a problem because 50% of the world are, and I'm looking to serve the world. And so the other piece to the DEI is, yes, you're clearing the way so you can get all the good people who are otherwise held back by bias, etc. But also, two other things. One is that we know that cognitively diverse teams will do better at problem solving. You get to cognitive diversity by having people who think differently. How you think is in part influenced by who you are. Background you come from, the skills you have, the identity, all of those things. So you're trying to take away barriers so everybody has the opportunity, and you're looking for diverse sets because they're going to produce better for you. In that mix, when I look at, 18% women graduating, but who am I serving? 50% women. The way we build will be better if we have teams that are made up of men and women. At 18%, you have some teams that are 100% men. There's a lot of research that says when you're 100% anything, it's not good, right? Because there's all sorts of confirmation bias. In fact, ironically, there's too much trust. There's research looking at like juries. If you have a jury made up of 12 people who are from the same background, you're not going to get the best result. They trust each other too much. They don't ask enough questions. They don't pry. So we know also that diversity makes groups function better.
Yeah, the evidence is there, and I heard you speak about it a lot. Is the belief there? Like when you started off, people bought into it?
Buy-in is a big thing. Depending on the perspective you have and the position you occupy, that tends to influence whether
it could be seen as a threat, maybe?
Correct. Correct. I have had people say the most outrageous things to me. I now reach here, now you're looking to make space for them others. Let them climb up themselves, right?
Of course. That's very human.
Look, if you used to occupy, think of in places where I remember I was young, went to a cricket club here, which will remain unnamed, with my brother who was signing up to join the club and play cricket. And I went with him. And when I went and I look around, I say, you know what, sign me up too. And the people watch me and say, no. Girls don't play cricket.
No.
And I thought, well, that's a stupid game. I mean, what game would not have girls play? What would that have to do with it? Right? And like, there wasn't the opportunity for me to be in it. But for the people who are in it, if you occupy 100% of positions of anything, let's say, it was in the US, whites only baseball, Major League Baseball. They had to be white, couldn't play otherwise. You good. From the time they start to open up that opportunity and the first non-white person comes in that space, you looking around, you're saying, but now we used to have 100% of the places. Now they're taking something from us.
Yeah, and I could be next.
And you continue to think, well, I am the best. But proof starts to happen because now you see Jackie Robinson show up.
And he's not the best.
And no, Jackie Robinson was the best.
No, I mean, you find out you're not the best.
You find out you're not the best, but kind of hard to accept that.
Of course.
And so what you program your mind to say is, they're taking something from us. They don't merit it. This is about ticking boxes. This is about giving away to people who are not entitled.
They haven't done it.
All of that. So how you see it. So getting buy-in is a different process depending on where the person is coming from.
I would imagine.
But if you were somebody who had been traditionally marginalized or excluded,
of course, it's exciting.
You might see it as finally.
Of course.
We're getting the opportunity to play. I have a bat and a ball and I know I'm good.
Yeah. Like I keep going back to this lecturing. Like I started lecturing maybe 2008-9. I've never been in a class that had more men than women ever at any level. And I don't have these statistics. I mean, Trinidad with the data sometimes is not always up to date, or I don't know if you're capturing it at all, but it's not reflected in the boardrooms and meetings that I have to go to work, you know.
So again, is it because if there are more women than men graduating, how come there's so many less women than men?
Well, you say it's either women, you accept that women not smarter than men.
Or something getting in the way.
Yeah.
And so I look into clear those things that get in the way so everybody has the opportunity to do. And that is better for us as a society because you're leaving out the best.
Of course. And I think we sometimes skip over the idea that we are not our best selves. You know, the less exposed you are, or the less you learn about different. Let's you talk about travel, for instance. It starts opening up your mind to the way the world could be. The same thing happens when you meet different people from different areas, and you get it. Sometimes it shakes
Absolutely.
you to the core.
It's cognitive development.
Yeah.
Your brain is developing in a better way. Hence why I said with cognitively diverse teams, you solve problems better, more complex problems.
Of course. I remember reading one time, I want to say it's 3M, and at that time they were calling it like conflict teams. Like, you remember they used to set up these teams where people should not get along and help them to see each other, and then they would come up with much better. And 3M at the time was known for innovation. So as you say, if you're doing product development or the kind of products you're talking about, you're losing out if you don't have people who are from different backgrounds. But I wonder how contentious, because if I was to line up those issues, let me use race as an example, right? It's a contentious thing. You know, it's not a comfortable conversation. Let me put it like that. And you dive in head first into that. Why you, it's easier for you to do. I watch all your credentials, you know, it had easier things you should be doing. I feel like you pick something that enormously difficult, those conversations with people. No?
Why wouldn't we try to solve the most difficult problems for society? If we're trying to live in the best possible place. And we know that race is one of the things that massively impacts that. You know, look, I operate in America, where the history there, we have colonialism, right? Everywhere. There's sort of global patriarchy, all sorts of things, right? So we share a lot in common. But you look at the history and then think about what we have lost out on. What have we lost out on from keeping people enslaved for hundreds of years? What potential have we lost out on? And then what price are we paying as a society living through the ramifications of that?
Of course.
I have looked at data comparing, for instance, progress between different groups, progress based on gender versus based on race. So, for instance, yes, 59% of people graduating with 4-year degrees in America. I have the statistics for America. I wish I did for Trinidad.
Yeah. We must work on that.
59% of women.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But in the last 10 years, the percentage of women who are heads of Fortune 500 companies moved from maybe 17 to 27.
So it's not much different there than here. It's about the same.
Because globally, sexism, right?
Yeah.
Why is that? How come you could have more, let me say, on one objective metric qualified, right? If we just use in the graduation.
Of course.
And what's going on at the top? So less men graduating and occupying more positions up there. If you looked at race has a 4x impact over your likelihood of getting up to the top versus gender. So the number of, for instance, Black CEOs is at an all-time high now in our Fortune 500. And I believe the number is 8 of 500.
Yeah.
And of those, 2 are women.
Oof. Yeah, I was going to tell you a double whammy.
I'm a million whammies. I'm an immigrant. I have an accent, a short, all kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. So that's something that you found in yourself in the earliest days, like that.
I was just always very attuned to stupidity. I mean, that thing where they locked me out of the cricket club was stupid. I was like, but this is dumb. I could be the best cricket player.
Of course.
All you don't know that? Why would you, on the basis of something so arbitrary, my gender? But you all don't make no sense. And so I was attuned to stupidity. I was attuned to, and when I say stupidity, I mean things that hold us back.
Sense. I got you.
And injustice. And so the combination of that, you look around and you see that so many places, and it's just a shame what we could be doing, where we could be, how we could be living if we operated differently. And so, solving those problems. I've been asked before, okay, how are we going to solve racism? I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Boy, that elephant.
Yeah.
But if we don't take one bite at a time.
Of course, well, you take any bites at least, the world is in a different place now than it was 40 years ago or 10 years ago, so it advancing. But you're a convent girl, yes? You get this out there one time, right?
I was having a whole discussion with people ask. I'm a convent girl who presents as a bishop's one.
Oh, that's what it says? I need to understand that logic.
That's my identity.
You know them bishops people go and act now?
I'm not a bishop's girl. I'm not claiming it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
claim you.
I'm being real that people tend to, I want to say 100% of the time, people see me and assume I went to bishops when in fact I went to convent.
I see. I was listening to the convent accents and I listened to a lot of
it's
things.
Not there, that's why.
It's not there, I try. I tell myself, I saw you do something that was, it was a longish address. I want to say it's in Wharton. And it was an
analytics conference, yes.
So I say, I'm going to skip to about 45 minutes. The convent, it must kick in. I say it must kick in after a little while, but it's never there.
No.
So, from convent for you, what was your next steps? Like you have people in Form 5, Form 6 now, they're thinking of where to go with the further education. What was your thought process?
Well, the first thing for me was that I knew I didn't want to narrow my learning in the way one would have to if you went to Form 6.
I see.
So this thing of choosing one thing, 3 things, was not for me. I wanted to learn a broad spectrum of things. There was so much in the world to learn. And so I chose to not go into this system, but to go from there. I went to the US.
Sorry.
And I went to college there. I went to Yale.
Went to Yale. Yeah, you see that just passing, right? So Yale will be one of the most difficult schools. You like the rough part. Yale is tough to get into for anybody.
It is tough. Yes, it is very tough to get into. But who say we can't get in? So I went to Yale, and I'll tell you a little story about that. I applied. I didn't know anything about Yale. I didn't know anything about any of these U.S. colleges. Somebody gave me a list and said, based on your grades from convent, you could probably be in these.
I see.
And they gave me a list and said, apply to those things. I applied to them. I got into another school called Tufts, which is a great school as well. And of the list, it was the only one that I had seen. And I say, okay, great. I like that. And I go in there. Good. Meanwhile, I then get a letter from Yale saying, you're on the wait list.
Right, okay.
And I had to ask somebody, what is the wait list? What does that mean? And they said, it means they like you, but they don't like you as much as they like other people who they're sure they want. So they're taking those, and then they're going to wait and see for you. And again, I was like, but how they could know they don't like me? They don't know me. So I got out a camcorder and I put it in a room like this. And I just stood in front of it and I talk about me.
Yeah.
And I put it in an envelope afterwards, a little cassette. I put it in an envelope and I mail it to the Yale admissions office. And that went its way.
Right.
In the course of applications, you have to do an interview. I did an interview, which began very poorly because I didn't know the specifics about Yale and what did you want to study there and how is it, and why this college over that college. And I wasn't from there and I didn't really know the things. But basically when I was done and leaving the interview, I said to the man, what kind of place is this? And he said, it's a research institute for euthanasia. And I was like, so you study euthanasia? What do you think about the morality of people terminating their lives? And we started to have a whole conversation about that. Yeah, now we could talk. I don't know about this thing. I'm not from here.
Got you.
And I don't know about that. But we could talk about things in the world. The combination of that video I sent in and the recommendation from the interviewer in a thing that turned around is what got me into Yale. But in both occasions, it wasn't an obvious win, right? It was both, be who you are, bring what you can, show them who you are.
Evidently. Isn't nervous, like, cool going into them rooms? It's something like, I ain't never could survive that.
You will survive.
I'd be out that door so fast, euthanasia, before they euthanize me, I'd be like, in the wrong place where I gone.
No.
That's not you.
No, I don't know. I don't carry that. Like, people are people.
Gotcha.
And we there. And what was there to lose? Okay, so I don't go to Yale or go to Tufts. I don't go to the States or stay right here and I make something of myself. Or, we also have to be conscious of the privilege we have.
That privilege word is another one of them words now that people it makes some people uncomfortable. You know, it's one of those things when you tell people over the privilege and those things people is good. But I'm sure you see in that live all the time.
I mean, for most of us, there is some privilege there. Right. There is privilege in you because you're a man and because of the assumptions that are made. Right. So you might be a poor man, you might be a black man, you might be all kinds of things. You might be a disabled man, but there's still some privilege in there. I think people feel uncomfortable based on, again, perception of reality and ownership. You know, you could own your things, or you could live in a space where you create a different narrative. Gotcha. We often see ourselves through our lowest or weakest points. And we are less likely to claim or own, maybe because we feel guilty about having some privilege.
Yeah.
Maybe because people think if they own that, it will discount what they've achieved. I don't know.
Yeah, people climb up a little bit when you talk about it.
But the reality is most of us have something.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. I think it's, something you said makes me realize why it might be, because the idea that I have privilege over somebody else might be one way I feel like there's something that I could lose, if we equalize this playing field,
If you admit it.
If I admit it.
They might take it.
That's right, they might go with it. I don't defend it,
Yes. Whereas I think we could think differently. We could think if we admit it, that gives us a leg up in which we could know how we use that privilege to help other people.
Yeah.
We're conscious of that, and we all have other things that we're working on too. We all have weaknesses, of course.
Of course.
So acknowledging your privilege shouldn't take anything away from you if you are also bringing with merit. Now, if you know that the only reason you have this job is because...
There's no self staying quiet and
correct. Is correct. Is because nepotism or something. So now you're a little nervous.
No thing to hide.
Correct.
Of course.
Correct.
But I heard you say something about admitting an acknowledgement. I heard you telling a story about moving into an apartment. And you said this lady came and to me, I expected it to go all the way in the next direction, right? So I'm going to take you, correct me if I'm wrong with this story, but you said you moved into the apartment and the lady came and she told you, I'm surprised that you are here.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't offend, I'm upset at that point. I am upset because I think I going into that building knowing if I going into an area where I know mostly white people live or mostly rich people live or whatever the thing is that I feel I'm not, and I am the outlier though. Don't say nothing are making me feel,
because you'll be uncomfortable.
I would be real uneasy.
I was paying them bills.
Yeah.
I was earning my money, working hard and paying the bills. So I did not have any sense of discomfort to be in there. It was in Switzerland, in Geneva.
Yeah.
And it was a nice apartment on Lake Geneva. And the day after we moved in, the cleaning lady is who came to the door to see if we wanted to keep her on as a cleaning lady.
Oh, right.
And when I opened the door, she looked at me and said, "Oh, I didn't expect you." And those were her only words. And I immediately knew what that meant. And I said to her, "You mean you didn't expect black?"
Yeah, you dive into it.
Right away. We had to live in the same reality.
I guess.
Because you don't know me.
Yeah.
So what do you mean you didn't expect me? You didn't expect a short person?
Yeah.
You didn't expect a woman? No. I know what that means. And she said, yeah. And then she said if the owners knew it was, because the whole application was on paperwork, right? They'd never met me.
I see.
And she said if the owners knew a black person was living in here, that would be a problem. They wouldn't. In fact, the embassy of the Congo wanted to rent this apartment for more money. And they turned it down. They said they'd rather get less money than rent to black people. So she had worked with them for 20 years.
Yeah.
And she knew the deal. And I said, well, this is what it is. This is what you get. And the next day, the owner showed up because the cleaning lady would have gone and told the owner. And so she showed up and said, there's been a mistake.
Oh, my God.
You can't live in this apartment.
But what are you feeling at that point? Because you said that, I just say embrace the woman. You was happy that she admitted it because...
I was happy. I was thrilled that the cleaning lady had said it, because most of the times they gaslight you. Right? They make you think you have a chip on your shoulder. You seeing things where things not there. Why you think they do it on everything, right? They'll do it on racism. If you say, boy, it's because I'm a woman, why you think it have anything to do with that?
Nice.
Right? But you know inside of yourself, there's only one or two things. And so it was wonderful that this woman said, yes, it's because you're black. So now I don't have to deal with the cognitive load of trying to figure out what is this madness happening here. If you go to a restaurant and you see them serving other people, and then serving you. The other day I was in Amsterdam. And there is this irony now too, right? Where I look the way I look. nobody in the world out there knows. It's like Obama can't get a taxi to stop for him. But now Obama's famous enough that probably the taxi could recognize him.
Right.
But let me go a level down from Obama.
Yeah,
and no matter how rich you are, no matter how successful you are, they're still seeing one thing. And you don't have the same opportunities. And so I will be in an airport. I was just recently in Amsterdam, and I am traveling first class for business or something, and come. And, the security tell me, you have to go over there. I said, but why me and why you ain't tell all these other people? I said to go, don't question me. And I said, because I'm black?
Oh,
why you have to do? I said, well, because look at the evidence here, look at the data. Now, engaging it makes people uncomfortable.
Of course.
But not engaging it makes me uncomfortable. Worse than uncomfortable, it makes me lose out on an opportunity.
Sure.
So I will go through the discomfort to guard the opportunity. Right. I have a right to rent this apartment. I'm paying for this. I have a right to be in this line at the airport. I have,
Yeah, the same rights as everybody
This is the
else.
thing about equality, equity. I am human. In the civil rights movement, there were placards that people would walk around with, just would say, I am a man. Now, there's a gender issue there. But
Of course.
Just to say, I'm a human being, and we're all equal, and we're entitled to equal treatment, etc. But that road to get there is a challenging one if you are on the wrong side of the power.
I appreciate that you said that, because it's almost like we came from a time where those things were openly said.
Correct.
This fountain is for you. This fountain is for me.
Yes.
And I was looking at this movie. I think it's The Green Book was the name of it. Yeah, it was a good way of shedding light on that. How things change when things get covered on nuanced. It's very different.
Yes. And in other places, sometimes things are unsaid and When I was growing up here, there were clubs here where I knew I couldn't show up and get in because...
Is this night?
Correct
remember
is right.
Walk Night? You remember they used to say that?
Correct is right. And this is a black country.
Of course. Yeah, I could only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to dive back into where you headed when you went to Yale, right? And what that experience was like. But I had to find out, what you do with the apartments? What you tell the lady when the owner come?
So... the owner came and said, I made a mistake. I didn't plan to rent this out. It's too valuable, emotional, sentimental value with my family. We really shouldn't have rented it out to strangers. I said, I know it's 20 years you're renting this apartment out now because he really don't tell. But I didn't sell her out, right?
Right, yeah. But
I wasn't looking to sell out the cleaning lady. But I said, that's not true. It's because I'm black, blah, 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 blah. She kept denying because that's what they do you. And I made a decision. She said, no, this you have to go. This can't continue. I made a decision that I was not going to fight to give a racist the money I working hard to earn. So I could have said, I stay in here, I ain't going nowhere. That was an expensive apartment. And I didn't feel like doing that. So what I said is, I will go when I'm ready to go. Now, it was hard to find apartments there. So I used it to my advantage, took my good time until I found something that was a third of the price.
Right. And you're gone.
Twice the size.
Yeah.
And then I could give 1 day's notice. Normally, you'd have to give 3 months' notice, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
You want me to go? So
yeah,
I used it to my advantage. She did that. I wrote an email to document
of course,
that she was a racist.
Oh, yeah, that's part of the email too.
Yeah.
So where you study at Yale?
So I get to Yale and it's wonderful.
Right.
Wonderful. And just curious people and, great learning and everything. But I notice that it's a liberal arts college and you get to study lots of things, which is what I wanted.
Sure.
But then you have to choose a major. And I noticed that there are options. You could study American studies. You could study European studies. Of course, you could do math and science and English and da-da-da. But I said, how come they have no Caribbean studies? Why is it good enough to study European studies and American studies and all of this, but not Caribbean studies? So I applied to create my own major in Caribbean studies.
Yeah.
And that is what I did. So
how was that process?
I majored in Caribbean
just
studies.
Introducing that.
I mean, you had to think out, lay out what a syllabus would be, what the materials would be, where I would study, who I would study with, who would supervise that to have this independent major. But I figured all of that out.
Yeah.
And did it. And so I
I feel like a running theme throughout your life, Maxine, a little bit, because that song, and like, I don't know that I would have the confidence to, I might think it, but that might be where it ends. The confidence to even to think that I can create another major. Like, where's that thought coming from for you? From saying that cricket club? Do you just have this? You cutting through it?
If I mean, it's a combination of things. If it making sense.
Not stupid.
Right. When you try something, it makes sense.
Right.
And then, yes, inequality. Why American studies is worthy and European studies is worthy. What we're nobody?
Right.
But this is worthy. There's intellectual pursuit. So I studied literature from across the region. I studied, Haitian Revolution. In fact, when I graduated, I went to live in Haiti. That's another story.
Yeah.
But there is so much richness. And what we're pursuing was intellectual discovery. There is so much material for intellectual discovery
here. It can't be finite, yeah.
Right, so it didn't make any sense to me that that wouldn't be an option. And so you go, what's the worst? Again, I keep saying, what is the worst that could happen?
I'm with you.
They say no? Okay. I don't have a big ego.
No.
That's the other thing.
And so they knows you going for it.
No. And also, I don't take no for an answer if it's the first answer I get. So with Yale, you could say I got no for the first answer, right?
Right.
No, we like other people more than we like you and thing. But as long as there's still a little door you could push, going back has never hurt.
Of course.
No, you don't want to be stupid and like you keep going, banging your head on a door. At some point, you have to realize you ain't crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, this door ain't opening.
Try next
We
door.
could go in the next door. But what a privilege to have a second door you could go in.
Yeah, I suppose.
What?
That's so true. Yeah. You have the option.
Yes.
Got it. So who teach you if you make this thing? You went, what class you went? When it come down to specializing, who was the lecturers?
A whole bunch of different ones.
Right.
And again, like if you're looking for it, right, you can find it. So I was able to combine things. I studied under Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who is like a foremost writer from Kenya.
Right.
Kamau Brathwaite, poet from the Caribbean, from Barbados. We bring in some Derek Walcott. I found people who understood and had expertise, but then it was also part of it was like economic development. So it wasn't just literature classes, economics, geography. History, I went for my junior year abroad. I went to UWI Mona and did classes there. So I just sort of, you found there's enough and you find it. The threads, there was a Jamaican professor who was at Yale at the time. I did some stuff with him. I did things on Black women's civil rights.
They have some faculty there who were Caribbean. Oh, I see.
A couple, but they weren't always teaching Caribbean things. But again, there are all these strings that connect us. So I could do some African history and bring that in. I could do some Indian history and bring that in. I could do, all of that contributes to the Caribbean, right?
Makes sense.
I did some Latin American studies classes, looking at politics and, different movements. Economic development is a big one. Which way do you go? We could see different models. What happened in Argentina? What happened in Venezuela? What happened? All of that relevant for us as well.
Yeah, so you had a degree before you had a degree, because my father's always telling me this thing where the first man who grants somebody a degree didn't have a degree. He had to create it. He might be talking about you see. Because that's special. That's special. And when did it turn into an interest in law for you?
I didn't have an interest in law.
No?
Never did. I applied. So I graduated from Yale. And I go to live in Haiti.
Oh, Haiti was before?
Yes.
Haiti was just after Yale?
Yes.
So why? Because of the Caribbean studies? What led you to Haiti?
Because I felt Caribbean people, the world, owed Haiti. Haiti is the country in our region that has suffered the most and the one that has done the most for us. Haiti is the only place where people were able to liberate themselves, to fight for that freedom. And look at when they did it and how they did it. And then they were punished for it. And as a Caribbean person, I felt I needed to contribute to, put your lot in where it might be useful. And so I went to Haiti to contribute in whatever way I could. wherever they need help the most, whatever problem is the hardest to solve, let me go there and try and do something.
The problems the hardest to solve.
I went to Haiti. I didn't have a job or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
So I said that you were teaching there. You didn't go with the intention to do that.
No, I didn't know what I would do. I knew I could find a way to be useful somehow.
I'm confused. There's a lot, that's brave. No, I remember I was living in Jamaica at one point and we were working for Sony Ericsson was the brand that had hired us to do their trade marketing at the time. And we had to go to Haiti for something. I guess it was a digital promotion or something like that. But when I see the list of things that they have in Haiti, including things like what to do if you have kidnapping, I only saw that in Haiti and in Bogota one time.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope I'm not going.
You didn't go?
I didn't go.
You're missing out,
really?
Man. You know what there is in the world here?
Yeah. I just go to Miami, I just
no,
go to Miami and back.
No.
One flight, remember we talked about this before we started? No connecting flights.
No, sir.
So what's the experience
so much
like?
More out there. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love Haiti, Haitians. My gosh. You want to know about resilience?
Yeah.
You want to know about power? You take a day there.
Yeah.
And see how people live in, what people living through, and what they're producing out of it. Haitian art, Haitian music, Haitian food. Anyway, so I went to Haiti.
Right.
While I was in Haiti, there was a coup and I had to leave. That's a next story for the next podcast. How I got out of Haiti. That's another story. Anyway, and at that point then, I was like, well, and so I applied then for the Rhodes Scholarship. And got the Rhodes Scholarship. And with the Rhodes Scholarship, you go to Oxford. You get, up to 3 years paid. It's wonderful. It's like having rich parents for the first time in your life. But you have to study something at Oxford. And I applied to study international relations.
I see.
Given what I was interested in, that makes sense. I did not get accepted to do it.
No.
I was rejected. No spot for you here for international relations. And so I had to find something else to do. And I did law.
I like how you say these things so matter of fact. First, let me ask, if you get this scholarship, acceptance not already granted, is separate?
It's separate.
I see.
You're more or less going to get into Oxford, but you're not guaranteed.
I see.
And there's a kind of small separate application. And then you certainly, for what you want to study, have to make an application there. And some courses, like international relations, only took 16 people or something. I wasn't one.
Yeah.
Law takes more people. And law was, in the end, I loved it.
Right.
Because it was intellectually interesting.
But at that point, all you know is you're going to Oxford, so you had to pick something else.
Correct.
So how come you decide, well, I guess law and IR, you tend to find out some people
it was more random than that. There's a lot of random things that lead you in different directions. The fact that I applied for the scholarship was random. Yeah. I was walking down the street one day and saw a friend, still at Yale, and I said, I ain't seen you in a long time. My friend Richard Drayton from Barbados.
Right.
And he said, yeah, because I went to interview for the Rhodes Scholarship. He was some years ahead of me. And I said, what's that? And he said, it's a scholarship where, they pay for you to go to Oxford, you get to study, blah, 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 blah. And you should apply when it's your time.
Right.
And I said, no, I think I had enough. I think I'm good. But then when it was my time and I got kicked out of Haiti, I went and applied for the thing. But so it wasn't like I'd spent my whole life planning that. And similarly with law in Oxford, the person who was the head of my Rhodes committee at the time, so you have to do interviews for the Rhodes, and that's a competitive thing to get the scholarship. He was a lawyer who had studied there.
I see.
And so when I didn't get into international relations, he said, good, because I don't know what you were studying that for. What job you're getting with that? They're always like that, right?
Yeah, that's college.
No, go and do law. Get a trade where you could do something. I mean, when I did Caribbean studies, my mother nearly did. She was shamed for her whole life that I had done this thing. You reach all the way, you're going to say Caribbean studies. What are you going to do with that?
And
what job you getting with that? Exactly. What work you going to do with that?
Imagine.
So similarly, he was like, well, thank goodness this international relation thing, come and do law. And so I did it. And
they fell in love with it somewhere along the way.
I like learning.
Yes.
It was a wonderful learning process. Lots of curious questions in there, and you're learning history in it.
Yeah, I guess law is one of them things, right? You get to learn about a lot of things in law. Yes.
And jurisprudence was my favorite class, which is the philosophy of law.
Right.
So that's, we're thinking, well, does universalism apply? Is there subjectivity in the world? I mean... So it was interesting.
See,
but I didn't plan to be a lawyer.
No, because when you look at, if you just look at your life on paper going back, it looks well planned out by parents who said, okay, we'll have this daughter, we'll get her to convent, we'll get her to law, you'll get her to Yale, you'll get her to do Oxford. None of it.
None of it. I was just always pursuing learning.
Yeah. So you had intent to become an attorney at this point in time? No.
No.
You had no intent, you just...
No. I was learning. And when I left Oxford, I went to run a human rights organization called Caribbean Human Rights Network, based in Barbados, but serving the whole region. So I wasn't practicing law when I left. I had a law degree, but I was doing human rights work across this region.
Yeah. I guess the combination of the two must be real helpful. The exposure to Caribbean history and then law. Yeah, I could see where that would come from. So that's what you spent some time doing at the point in time?
Yeah, and working on things, indigenous rights in Suriname and a lot of prison reform stuff and trying to end the death penalty and disability rights and gender across the region, right? From Puerto Rico, Cuba, all the way down.
You see.
Guyana, Suriname.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll come up with more questions, because that's topics that, like, jail is interesting to me as you bring it up.
Me
because,
too.
I never knew there was a thing called abolitionists or whatever you call it, right? But I don't think that people should be in jail. So when you say the death penalty, I remember that time when there were 9 hangings in 3 days here.
As it shady?
Yeah. I remember feeling physically sick over the days. It's like, I can't understand. And for me, in my mind at the time, I couldn't understand how it could be just for a few people to decide whether a man live or die. I just find it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to reconcile.
Yeah.
And to know that I know what the feeling in the country was like at that time. And if that's the collective feeling, I don't know if it could be right.
Yeah. And a feeling is not always a fact. So I think that feeling comes from fear.
Yeah.
We live in a hard time and people sadly living in fear. There's a lot of bad things going on. And so people get a feeling that, nah man, we got to end this.
Yeah.
And ending it in one way, they think it will be a deterrent. If you kill these people, less people will kill you.
Yeah.
All the data shows that it's not there.
Right?
Because sadly, when people are doing the things, they're not... Look, we could get into cognitive development, which is something I'm very interested in now and doing work here to try to get us to understand what is getting in the way of learning of many of the children in schools here. I think we have a crisis.
Yeah.
Because people, when something is interrupting your learning, you're not developing cognitively well. And then you're stunted. Your judgment is off. You're more impulsive.
I understand.
You're making good decisions, but not because... There's a fine line to not say it's not choice. You haven't developed your brain in there.
Understand.
And then we all suffer the consequences of the negative choices.
Of course.
And actions and decisions. But in the end, yes, hanging those 9 people did not stop. Look, we have our own data, right? Did it stop the murders? Did it stop gangs? Did it stop extortion? Did it stop kidnapping?
Yeah.
It didn't. So I'm not saying I don't understand why people want vengeance or want to feel like they're doing something to make things better. I get that. I just know from the proof that that isn't the way to do it. So I'm trying to see, well, what's the other way?
Gotcha.
And I feel like if we could get closer to the source, what is interrupting the learning that is making people end up there? If we don't investigate that and if we don't invest, we end up prosecuting.
Yeah, as an expensive society as a whole. It's all of us.
And living in fear.
Yeah. Let's talk about that now, the work that you're doing now. Because I don't know how much you keep up with local news. You still follow like everything that's going on here?
Yes, sometimes. Not 100%. Sometimes from a mental health.
Yeah, something else.
I have to lock off.
Sometimes you just have to not see it.
Yeah, because the headlines,
of course,
right, it's all... I'm looking at the papers from there and it's just like, death, destruction, murder, pillage, rape, blah, blah, blah. And that's hard.
It's tough. But one particular story that I've been following and the debate going on by you, going on Facebook all the time now, about Roger Alexander reading in Parliament. And I saw his first address. He was fumbling, you know what I mean? He had a rough time getting through a written statement. And I saw how people came at him. Now, granted, there's a political thing to it, right? Because if you're on one side of the fence, it don't matter what you do. Once all our heels in on either side, it don't matter what you do. I'm going to say it's the worst thing ever happened, man. Look at you can't read it.
Unfortunately.
I find it to be real unfortunate because I was telling a story here with one of my recent episodes where that thing with not being able to read, I struggle with that a lot. That if you ask me to read a paragraph here, all hell break loose. It's tricky. I want them glasses. You know, you tell me when them glasses do. I wanted to get a loudspeaker, so when I see something, it could read for me. Because it's tough, it's difficult. So I was really happy about his response when he said, because there were some school children in the gallery at the time, and he said, I want to encourage you all, if you all having issues with this, or if you're struggling to do something, don't let nobody tell you nothing and make it. That's not the be all and end all. I don't think there's any one skill that you could say make you less of a human or less potential or anything like that. So when I saw the work you're doing now, I felt like it's so aligned with what happened today.
Yes. And just to mention on the technology, using AI, building on open source platforms like Llama that we have, people are making interventions, apps where, for instance, if you have dyslexia, this will summarize for you. It will change complex text into dyslexia-friendly text.
Oh, it will?
Yeah.
I see.
So that you can understand. Because what we want to get to is the understanding. That is the outcome we want.
Of course.
For people to have more comprehension and more understanding. Yeah. It's not necessarily... Reading is one indicator, but it is not the only one.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have hyperlexia. So they're reading, but they're not understanding. You really want to get to the understanding.
God.
And all of the tools we have that can get there are ones we should be using. But, you know, I know CEOs in Trinidad who are severely dyslexic and say to me, Maxine, growing up, if I didn't come last, it was an achievement in class. But nobody was looking into why this was so.
Of course.
They thought I was skylarking.
You're lazy.
That's right. You're dunce.
Yeah.
He ain't good at the school thing. Right? And they just, that's it. Or you're problematic.
Of course. Well, you're going to be problematic if you're put in a situation where you're among people who they're telling you you're supposed to be equal to. Because you're in a class and whatever stream you're in. Remember them days when I don't know if they still do it, but in a stream and you're supposed to be doing great. I was just telling my father that class had 40 people. I good for 38. If I do get 38, I'm in the game.
Right.
And then one time I come home with a report, 28. He said, what real progress I because cut down the class to 30 people. So it's the same damn. Same damn. Well, but the thing about him is he never, I guess, he limited, you know, where no, and the language has changed now because I don't know that when I was in Newtown, the word dyslexia, I never hear some of them words, you know?
And you know what word? Still today, people tell me, oh, ADHD, we don't have that here.
Yeah. Oh, at all. What do you mean here?
We don't have it in the Caribbean. No, it's a foreign thing. They like the matter.
That's only Yankee.
And people suffering.
Of course.
I was just speaking to somebody who himself was incarcerated here. He spent many years in jail here because he killed somebody at 17.
Right.
Impulsive, he stabbed the boy to death. His cellmate, he was saying, was very aggressive. But he spent years in cells with the man. And he came to realize that the fellow would act out whenever there was something which would bring light to his lack of learning. Yeah, you had to read something. And he would act up. You weren't, unless you were watching well, you wouldn't. He may not have been conscious that was his trigger.
Yeah.
And in the cell, he started to work with him to help him to learn how to read one word and another word and another word. That kind of development.
Right.
So reading looks like the vehicle, but really it's just a way of developing the brain. He took time with him, but that was too little too late.
Of course, yeah.
But what people saw was an aggressive, impulsive man. What I understand is somebody who did not get the investment from early to identify what was getting in the way of his learning and to have an intervention to help him develop to his potential. You know, I talk about it's all about getting people opportunities based on their potential and their ability. But we have to invest. All of us have something we're working on.
Yeah, of course.
But if we don't first identify what it is, you are left in the class, you know, you're the dunce. In the case of the CEO I mentioned, I'm thinking of one in particular. It was a big shot CEO here. And he said that ultimately because his family had money, they sent him away. And it was there that he was then diagnosed and, you know, was able to get some intervention. Reading is still very hard for him.
Yeah.
But he has ways around it. Now, with technology as well, right?
Yeah.
There are ways where you can have voice, right? Things can be read to you.
Or even you watch youths now, like my son, he learns so much more watching videos and doing things where it doesn't call for the amount of reading.
Right.
You know, it's different.
Right. But then some people
of course
will does reading. There's auditory processing and there's visual processing issues. And you could have one or the other.
Right.
The auditory processing people don't pick it up well from hearing, and then the visual processing people, you could show me that all day long. I don't understand it from that. But write down the words, I'll understand it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But unless we know what is getting in the way of your learning, we relegate you, we don't invest in you, and now we're afraid of you.
Of course.
There are statistics from across the region. In some places, they're saying 75% of the people convicted of, 95%, I should say, people convicted of serious crime do not read beyond the level of a 3-year-old. I know in the States, 70% don't read beyond elementary level. I do not know the statistics for Trinidad. I know through the work we're doing with Cotton Tree Foundation that when we went to speak to schools and principals to say we want to figure out a way to get more children assessed so we could find out what's going on and then give them learning plans, work with the parents. We were looking across 10 schools doing a pilot, 1 child from each school. The teachers say, 1 child? 33% of my class easily I could send to you all.
Right.
So I don't have the hard data. I know anecdotally we have a problem.
Of course.
I know from people who work in prisons here that they say, oh my God, the vast majority have learning issues. But those were not addressed. So one of the things I think that we would greatly benefit from as a society is investing to identify what is getting in the way of learning and then figuring out, and now we have technology to help us. I just tell you about all kinds of interventions at scale, what each person needs to help them to live up to their potential. Human beings want to grow. We want to develop in a healthy way. As a survival thing too, right?
Of course.
Like that's a natural thing. We want to learn how to navigate this world, etc. So to assume that people harden, they don't want, that's a reaction to a challenge, right? If you know it is in a relationship and you know you're doing something wrong, I'll go have a fight here.
Of course.
That's a distract from this, right? So similarly, that's a distraction. And sometimes it's a lack of opportunities. Well, I didn't learn, so now I have nothing else to do. I'm going to. So if we can intervene earlier, if we can figure out what is happening with the learning and we get these plans, and what you need for that is for people in schools to get learning assessments. There are psychologists who do psychoeducational evaluations. You can get one done privately. It costs money. This is where we would like people to contribute. We started something at Cotton Tree. If we had more people investing, we could hire more. We hired 10 psychologists to do this first round, working with the parents, working with teachers, etc. And yes, they identified, oh, this is what this child has, this is what this one has, and this is what they need. If we had more people contributing, we could do more of that. That's, nonprofit work. You could pay privately and get that assessment done. The government, there is a student support services division that I think you come maybe through the principal, whatever, you get a referral, you would go in and you could get each child assessed. Now, there's a long wait list.
I'm sure.
Take a while.
Capacity, right?
Capacity. We have to build the capacity to do that. But it starts with the parents first, seeing the children differently, making a different assumption. Let's put it there. Let's assume that something is interrupting the learning here, as opposed to assuming that they're bad or they're done, so they whatever. And then if we start from that angle, we may discover things that will help us ultimately help that child and help society.
Of course.
And then the second part of it is that we need to find the ways for the children to then get the support once we identify. So across the nation in the schools, how the teachers would teach towards if they knew you were dyslexic, what would they do, right? Do we have the training to do that? But again, in this day and age, technology,
of course,
which is available and free, can also be helpful in that. With Ishi's school, which is a school in Port of Spain, but an excellent school for people with special needs.
Right.
We started a scholarship fund to help cover half of the costs for a certain number of students. If we had more people contributing to the fund, we could cover for more, and it don't have to be your child.
Of course.
I don't have no child in school here. Right?
Yeah.
But it's a society I care about. And I know we could live in fellowship.
Of course, if all of us doing better, we all better.
Of us.
Yeah.
Taking them gates down.
Of course.
leave your gun home.
Yeah.
Don't have no gun.
Of course.
Because we don't need it. Because people doing good. And what it
you
would
can't
do...
say that now, Maxine. You can't say don't have no gun right now in Trinidad.
So this is what I'm saying. But I want to get to a place where...
I understand fully. We don't need it.
No, where we being productive. And I mean, what that would do to lift the whole country, economic output, like all of it.
Yeah. A question around that, right? When you say intervene, so you're doing some great work with Coventry. What would be the age for a parent to start that intervention?
Any age.
I see.
Any age. We were working with primary schools in this pilot,
right.
But you could get a diagnosis autism from as early as 3. Sometimes what happens to children here, I know people here who said, yep, I was a dunce child, da-da-da-da-da. When I was 12, I got a pair of glasses. And for the first time I saw. And I thought, that's how you all been seeing all this time? The child couldn't see.
You don't know. You think everybody else experiencing what you're experiencing.
That's right. So sometimes it's that.
And I like how you put it, that is getting in the way of your progress.
Absolutely. So that child did not do well. All through this time if somebody had tested their eyes. So the intervention looks different, but these psychoeducational assessments are going to do a holistic, 360, what's happening here.
Oh, that's okay. I got you.
Yeah, and I mean, they may refer you to an ophthalmologist.
I see.
Right?
I see. So it's broad.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah. Because you're looking to solve the problem. What's getting in the way?
Yeah, what's the interruption?
Yeah. I mean, I know people took children just to their pediatrician for one thing, but a good pediatrician says, I don't think it's this thing. I think it could be this other thing. Take them to...
Understood.
They check your hearing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is another obstacle.
That's right.
I'm with you.
And then discover it's that.
Yeah.
So the intervention starts with somebody assessing.
Of course.
Yes, somebody to look at this child from a different lens and see what could be getting in the way.
Yeah, it makes me feel like we should get to the point where all children assess just in case.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You could see where the society will be better.
Yes.
And children resilient. So just talking from my own friend groups now, people who are experiencing these things, children, it is what it is. They go, they do the assessment and so on. What happens when the obstacle is the parent? Because we still as a society deal with shame and embarrassment, and they can't tell the thing because they had to hide the report book now or this common entrance thing. Remember, they used to put all of your name in the papers.
Yes.
But you was all right. You were in contact with it. And everybody look for the name. But how important is it for us to sensitize?
That's why I'm talking about it. And that's why I'm saying everybody has things that they struggle with.
Sure.
Let us live in the reality. We don't want to hide our privilege, and we don't want to pretend that we don't have struggles.
Understood.
If we all engage on the same plane, reality, we're human beings, we're imperfect, of course. Who pretending they're perfect? That CEO who couldn't read?
Yeah.
Right? No, everybody has something.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. We carry on this shame because I think we pretend we're in some la-la land where there is a thing called perfection. And that robs us of the benefit of addressing the things that we need or where we need support, asking for help. And so those are things. And so that's why I've been talking more. Somebody said to me, I find your hair a lot.
Yeah.
I'm talking more, saying yes to come and do this podcast, right?
Thanks.
But because I want to normalize it. And therefore to get people to kind of wake up and own that and it's all right. What are we shamed for?
I understand.
You'll be more shamed when your son end up in jail?
Yeah. Let me ask a little more about our cognitive development. I had started reading more and more. I guess in trying to accomplish more things, I started getting into... I'll tell you what helped me a lot with reading. I went to this course called Effective Personal Productivity. And it was about management and leading people and the comfort of delegation and all those things. There was a whole lot of modules. But one of the modules was reading fast. Because they say if you're at executive level, there's a lot of information you have to take. And if all of it coming written, it's going to take you a lot of time. And they had introduced this concept of skimming and scanning, so it's not like, because I felt like when you have to read word. If I read a book now, how long it takes me to finish that page, I will read that over. Because it's what you said, I read it, but it's not really going in.
Correct.
It's just blah, 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 blah. Now, when I saw skimming and scanning, it's easier for me to just kind of watch the paragraph and get a sense of what is in there. And if there's something more important, I could pay some attention on time now instead of having to read the whole thing. And then it's easier for me to do this. If you explain something to me rather than having to write down and read it, it's a little easier to grasp. So it allowed me to make some steps in the right direction. So I wonder, if our school systems, the school systems will allow for even teachers, as you say, with the technology, like Fatima now has all smart boards. It's such a great step.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get more into that cognitive development, because that led me to reading some books on habits, instead of habits over this motivation to change. If you could change your habits, and then in reading that, I didn't expect it to be so much about cognitive development and the way the brain works and so on. So when you said, if I don't develop by this point, by this age, it limits cognitive development. You could talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So I don't think that there is a specific age by which we don't develop anymore. But we know that the brain is most malleable the younger you are.
Malleable
right.
when you're young, right?
Like you learn languages like nothing when you're younger, right? It's learning so much. So the early intervention is the issue. The earlier you get there, the more chance you have of positive development. When I gave the story about the fella in prison and his roommate, he tried, but that was too little too late, right?
He done lock up.
He done lock up, and in the end, he died by violence himself. If we start earlier, we get more progress. But it don't matter. The CEO I mentioned didn't go abroad until he was in his late teens. And they were able to identify some people. I just talking to somebody last night who's 41 and just discovered that he has ADHD and said, like, he cried tears when he realized this is what explains these things I struggling with my whole life. When you tell me that story about reading the book and you have to read it over and over, I'm thinking, oh, that could be a number of things. One of them could be ADHD, where it's a focus thing. But we don't know until we look into it. And then once we know, then we could start to see, when you talk about smart boards, I remember when I went to interview at Facebook, I was not a technical person at all. I just am a problem solver. And they had some problems, and I'm going to see if I could solve this. But in the interview, I came back and I said to a friend of mine who understood that world more, who was part of that tech world. I said, why are those people so strange? Why they can't just talk to you? They can't talk without writing. You'd start the interview and everybody would get up and write something on the whiteboard. Yeah. And I was like, that's weird. Like, talk to me. Because I don't learn as well looking at the diagram on the whiteboard. So I learned that, okay, I'm more auditory. I do, like, the written word is good for me. But those visuals, not so much. For somebody else, that visual saving them.
That work great,
Right?
Gotcha.
So at any age, you can discover. Once you discover, now you can start to address. If anything, the discovery starts to reduce the shame you're feeling in yourself. Because now you have an explanation for things.
Of course.
Like when I tell you, when the woman says, because you're black, they don't want you to, I said, thank you.
You take the load off.
That load off of me now. Because I would have been swirling, right? That, talk about shame reduced, and now you're in a healthier place.
You realize them is the problem.
Right. In California, the old Surgeon General was a Jamaican woman who was a doctor who had come up with this whole thing where she realized that she was, as a doctor, seeing patients who essentially, by all the regular indicators, should have been healthy. But they weren't. And she came to realize that living in certain circumstances caused ill health. So let's say it wasn't your diet, but she was checking for diet. It was actually because you lived in a home where there was violence. And that was which wasn't the way. So she created a sort of kind of a metric for measuring that kind of pressure. And poverty, like all of these things were impacting health, but weren't the obvious things. Once you knew it, and I remember saying to her, okay, but once you tell people, well, it's because you're living in a home with violence, or because you're living at this level of poverty, whatever, they might not have any means to do anything about this. So what's the point? And she said, nah, boy, the difference it makes just to know.
Get the revelation, got it.
Because now you can start to figure out ways. Even if no one comes to intervene, there's nobody on a white horse coming to save you from that. You're knowing, you start to do self-help then.
Of course.
And just taking away the shame, just having the understanding clears the way to something. So I believe there is some progress to be had at any age.
Right, got it.
In cognitive development. A, from the knowing, and then B, really, if you can do the intervention.
Yeah, when you said any age, I was thinking any age child. So you're saying my big self.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
We are all, I use the word learners.
Right.
I don't I tend to not use other words because everybody's a learner.
Got it. I'm with you.
I even said people in school, like, right, but not necessarily children.
Yeah, I keep thinking children, but I received that. I'll tell you how it went. Yeah. I'll share that with you when that time
big
comes.
People have plenty to learn and barriers to be removed. And,
of course.
But their growth. We all growing until we're dead, we're growing, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I have to ask you.
Yes.
Because with all this you talk about Yale and all this time in Oxford and that, like I see when I pull up your bio, I see an acting, and I'm trying to wonder when you get the time. Where was this acting? Where does this come from?
I have always wanted to be an actress.
Yeah.
I don't know, something in my blood and my bones always wanted to connect with people in that way.
Right.
When I was 11 years old, I was driving down the street with my mother at the corner of Carlos and Robert Street. And we stopped by a traffic light and a woman was crossing the road and she saw and she knew my mother and she said, hey, and she said, I don't have a daughter that old. And my mother said, yes. She says, well, I have a competition going on, Miss Junior Trinidad and Tobago. It's a talent competition.
Just so things...
Yes, just so. And she said, she should enter. And my mother said, but she don't have no talent. And I was like, no, I have plenty talent. Yeah. And I entered myself in the competition. And I did a spoken word piece. And I won.
Really?
And I was like, well, this is the beginning of my acting career. Except my mother was like, except your books. Yeah. That was very cute.
Very Trinidadian too, eh?
Exactly. Go back and study your books. So my burgeoning acting career was halted then. But then all throughout in college, I did improv comedy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like
for
stand-up?
many years. Well, so improv and stand-up are two very different things.
Improv is like acting?
Yeah. Stand-up. You're rehearsing your jokes, you know your thing, and it's you alone. Improv is a different scene. Improv, you work with a group, you all build something together, you stand on stage, you have no script, and you create based on what the audience is asking for.
That's like Wayne Brady and them used to do a lot of that. They had a show doing that.
Whose line is it anyway? That kind of thing is improv.
And that's untrained, they just went into that space.
Yes. But you mean, you practice, right? Once you're with a group, you're practicing because you're learning there's some key skills.
Yeah.
How to say yes and. How to receive an idea and build on it. And let me tell you something, it is such an important skill for life, for collaborating with others, creating out of nothing, and making it flow, not blocking, receiving. It's so great. So I did improv for years.
Wow.
And I did improv, actually. I got into that because when I went to college and I was in the States and I wanted to do acting, I was annoyed that all the roles, you had to have an American accent. I was in America. And I was like, why the woman in the coffee shop have to be American? Why did this, that? And so there was a kind of political piece to it. I said, nah. And in improv, you could be you. Because yes, the person in the coffee shop, you get to create who that is.
Right.
And so I went into improv, which was, as I said, the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
And then I came back to Trinidad and started auditioning for things and did vagina monologues.
Right. I remember that.
Was my big breakout theater stage production and Westwood Park.
Right.
So I was a character in Westwood Park.
My wife was like, Maxine Williams in Westwood Park? I was like, what?
All these years later, as soon as I show up in customs, people be like, wait! I mean, back in the day when Westwood Park was on air all the time,
was the thing.
And I was an evil character. Isis Devines.
Right.
And so sometimes I'd be in the supermarket and the woman cashing me out to say, I just have to say, I find you treat that man bad. You had a right to...
That's when you know you do a great job, right?
Yeah. But it's so much fun. And so I've done, and then I went into doing things like what you're doing now, talk shows and hosting things. And I did a lot of carnival and cultural stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's how my wife described it. I said, Westwood, I said, you sure? And she's like, she was always on TV. She was just always on TV.
And all the while I was practicing law during the day and then doing these things at night or on the side, Carnival, Messiah. But one of the biggest, most sort of meaningful pieces to me was the Dragon Can't Dance.
Right.
Where I played Sylvia against Brother Resistance as Aldrich.
Yeah.
And that was really, really meaningful.
I saw that picture, like when I saw the picture, just macroing Instagram a little bit, when I see it, I was like, what happened here? This is like a connection that you're not expecting to see.
Yeah.
Again, in my mind, when you talk about Maxine Williams, again, I always go back to this article where we have a Trini in Facebook. So it feels very corporate, and then it's like you alongside Brother Resistance. The photo itself is so powerful. Especially against the backdrop of the story. It probably couldn't be cast better, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was wonderful. I mean, first of all, Earl Lovelace and his writing and his story and how it depicts who we are. Yeah. So it mattered to me to be in that production, to represent us in that way. But, the concept of the corporate person and the artist, and I think we tend to narrow too much or expect too little, almost. I did have times, like when I was doing vagina monologues, and I was a lawyer at the same time, where sometimes I would hear like, this client not too happy.
Yeah.
And I would be like, okay, well, I will pack up all their things and send it back then.
Yeah.
Because...
Maxine, you have a braveness.
No, because
you go through that.
I win in your case for you. You concerned about the fact that I on stage representing something, doing art, connecting with people, bringing joy. Oh, all right, well...
Like Colin Lucas was one of those people I was admired for that, band leader and singer, and he out there in tights and everything in a fet. And then next day, CEO of the Port Authority or CEO of Courts. And he was talking about some of that too, He said, I was never late for work. He didn't miss meetings. He was very, very, and he was conscious of it too. He was making sure he showed up on time.
Yeah. I think we small up ourselves.
Yeah, you find so.
And people, and you expect that. And then you're free to be all of the things and to show all of the parts.
Yeah.
If you're not hurting anybody, and in fact, you're helping, you're contributing. As I say, you're bringing joy and showing what creativity can do.
Yeah.
Why would anybody be concerned about that? But we do.
I find we do. Like, I was conscious of it. Like, starting a podcast, I was so conscious of, okay, doing parody songs and doing things that might be out there and now I had to show up in a meeting and act serious. And, it's a difficult space to be in.
Yeah,
Until it's not really, to be honest, because now I just been doing both for so long.
That's right.
That it is what it is. I can talk about. It's just like this conversation. You just talk about who you are, your whole self.
And then you give somebody else the space to be themselves when they see you show up and do that. And that matters.
I got you. So at 11, you say spoken word very casually, right? You were writing poems and things before?
No. So what had happened was I was going to sing. I was going to sing a song called The Double Dutch Bus.
Right.
I don't know if you know that song.
No.
Double Dutch Bus coming down the street. It was like a popular song.
Right.
Anyhow, and I was going to sing that song. And I was practicing and thing. And 3 days before the performance, before the competition, my mother again look out the window and say, you can't sing.
Right.
You ain't keeping a tune. That song ain't real bad. You're going to lose if you're going to do that. And I was like, what?
Mommy's no joke.
No, mommy's no joke. Listen to me. Everything I learned about feedback, keep it real. Right? Yeah, man. And that's a good skill too.
Yeah,
to know how to take feedback, how to, receive and, okay. And not be too big to take it, right? So she gave me that feedback and I was like, what? But this is my song.
Yeah.
And instead of singing the song then, I took the words of the same song and I started speaking them and then adding some gestures and doing it like a one-person acting show. And so I say spoken word because it was kind of like poetry because it's song lyrics, but then I was acting it out.
Right.
And I started practicing that. And she said, no, that song ain't good.
I see.
And so, did a quick pivot, went on stage and delivered this thing and it was a hit.
Yeah.
And from then... there were other times where I was like, nah, man, I know I could sing. Coming back in the singing thing. And
hey, mother.
Turns out, not even mother. I'm now getting feedback from other people. I have been in musicals where I have been one of the main characters and they tell me, you know what, you just lip sync.
Yeah,
when they're singing, come.
I love it.
Everybody can't do everything.
Yeah, of course. May I give it a shot?
I did. Yeah, and that is important.
Like that's a running theme through everything you say. Like that's because the stage is a frightening place for a lot of people. Going on stage and having to deliver. You been nervous on how are you approaching those things?
I cannot say that I have a sense of being nervous. I prepare. Now, if you're doing improv, the preparation is in the training, learning how to work with others. But even that, there are going to be times where things come at you. So, for instance, when I did improv, I did that in the United States and I had just gotten there for college. I did not know so many of the cultural cues and information, the history, all of that. And again, improv, the audience is giving you. So I remember being on stage one day and saying, can I have a profession, please?
Right.
And somebody shouted out, NFL linesman. I have no idea what the NFL is.
Oh, the NFL as a whole?
NFL
position.
Well, I don't know what a linesman is either.
And it's a lineman too. It's not a linesman is football.
See that? NFL lineman. And I have no idea what they're talking about, but I say, thank you.
Great.
And now I have to do something with it. And I started standing up and acting like I was dishing out food and saying, okay, next. Come on, if you're in the natural food line, you got to move it quick. I only have so much broccoli.
Yeah, give it a shot.
And they thought it was hilarious that I took NFL and made it natural food line at the cafeteria.
I see. Oh, which,
and they
had to go with it as improv.
And they loved it. And they thought I was being clever and turning the NFL thing around, when in fact I was pulling for something.
Nice.
It's a good lesson that was the worst that could happen.
Yeah.
So the nerves come out of this fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
And people think, I'll die. I won't be able to get up again. I won't be able to face people. Nobody not on you like that. Seriously.
Yeah, it's true.
There's so much going on in the world. People have so much going on in themselves. Okay, so you fall down today.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to remember that tomorrow.
Yeah, I used to, let's still have like public speaking. I was nervous before. Once I say the first couple of words are okay, right? And I remember the best advice I got was actually from a doctor who was saying the same thing. He's talking about anxiety and them things. And he's like, listen, he say, when you start talking on a stage, he said, everybody in that crowd studied themselves. Nobody worried about if you're nervous, if you this. Everybody worried if you will call on them or something like that. People really not paying much attention to that.
Yeah.
But as a show that we talk to Calypsonians here all the time, we talk to people who in the arts. I had to ask about what it was like working alongside Brother Resistance or opposite.
I mean, just the dream of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody could have been better cast for Aldrich than Resistance.
Right.
Who he was, how he carried himself, what he brought to us. And so the experience of inhabiting those characters who represent so much of who we are was so powerful, learning from each other and then bringing that to the audience. Oh, yeah, I mean, it was a gift.
And where you all did it? Where did it run?
It was open in Naparima, and then we did on the big stage once too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Big stage, Savannah stage?
Yeah.
Oh, these two plays on the Savannah stage?
Now and then.
That's huge, no? This real big stage.
Yeah.
You don't seem worried by that.
Actually, you know what? The bigger the stage, the bigger the audience, the easier it is.
Why you say so? How come?
I think there's something about now it's not as intimate.
Gotcha.
And you can kind of immerse yourself in the whole space.
Gotcha.
Whereas if it's 3 people in front of you, boy, that's some real, right?
Yeah.
You have to connect with each of those 3. And if one of them not listening to you, you're in trouble.
I suppose. And a comedian here, he said the same thing. I was so surprised. You know, he said when it's big audiences, it's just much easier.
Yeah.
He was also saying like, because it's stand-up comedy with him, you get to cover more topics. There's somebody who will laugh at something in there. You say if it's them 3 people and it's not hitting, you have an issue.
Yeah.
You have an issue. So I had to go back to your Instagram, right? I have plenty of macroing to do here, right? Heavy macroing, right? Because it seems as though that working alongside Resistance, as you say, would have been great. But Loveless seems to play a big role in life, right? I'm macroing something here. It says, a list of books that you've been reading recently, right? And when I look at the list of books, you might have 10 books here, but about 4. So even up to now, still a big influence.
And rereading. So I reread The Dragon this year, and I discovered things that I mean, literally, I was like, oh my gosh, that is it. That is the answer. I read that how many years ago? And still, I am discovering things because it is layered, because his writing is like embroidery. And you can work through the patterns and see the texture, but then there's something else going on over here and over there. And then, you know, I had never read It's Just a Movie. So that was a new Lovelace. This is the year Lovelace turns 90 years old. And so it was also for me a sort of re-immersion in his space and his writing. And
of course.
You know,
and then
while we can still engage
having
with
to play
him.
One of his main characters too must have been special.
Yes.
Because I mean, you say how good Resistance was as Ulrich. Or was it like a Sylvia?
You know something? I moved back to Trinidad to play Sylvia. I wasn't living here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was after the Queen Haiti out. When
I was living in Jamaica that time.
Yeah.
Look, I remember from young, right? I had always said,
right.
Boy, I don't know how much time I have. I'm very, very conscious of mortality. I don't know how much time I have. This could be my last second. On my way here today, I had 1 mango put aside for me.
Right.
And I said, boy, eat the mango now because there's only 1 mango I have. And then I thought, eat the mango now. You don't know if you're coming back home.
Oh, Lord.
Literally, right? So I was living in Jamaica and saw that they were doing a production of The Dragon. I pack up my things.
Yeah, and you come in.
And I come back and I say, no, I have to be nuts.
Serious?
And people were like, who are you? And this is before I had done Vagina Monologues and all the other things. I believe. Was it before? Forget the timeline now. But the point is, I was not the person people would come to for that. And I was like, no, trust me. I know Sylvia. Yeah. I know Sylvia. Nobody can play Sylvia like me. And I went and I auditioned and I got the part. It meant a lot to me to play that character. A lot. She was a young woman who, and I must have been about her age when I first read the book, 17. And she represents, and beauty and power and an understanding of self and navigating that self in a world that gives you obstacles that you didn't create, but knowing all along that you bigger and better than so much of what they bring to you and so much of what they expect of you. And, you know, she shines, she has a light, and he talks about, in his embroidery way, all that she is. And to me, it all adds up to love. She's love, and she's the love that we're searching for in ourselves and in others. And there's this just power beaming, this aura, and that is us. Yeah. And so, yes, it meant a lot to me. I moved back to Trinidad to get that role.
Got it. Well, is it something that you do still? Like, is something you're still interested in now? Like, you would do? What's your role that going to get you to fly back here now?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know what you have.
I shouldn't ask you that. I really shouldn't ask you that. I shouldn't know that, right?
Exactly. Nothing is off limits.
Yeah.
What life I here living, you know.
I got you. Another picture I come across randomly on your Instagram is you with Peter Minshall.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
Really?
And how we met was that he came to something I was in. Mm-hmm. I believe he came to Vagina Monologues.
I see.
And he wrote me afterwards and said some very, very charitable things. And then he saw me in, Geraldine O'Connor did a production of Carnival Messiah, which I was in as well. Mm. And again, we connected. So it was a creator to creator. And of course, to call myself a creator in line with Peter Minshall is not a thing. But
I understand,
he saw it that way. Mm. And, you know, he has his form of art, which we all know. Mm-hmm. For me, I think my thing is with words.
Right.
It's not with singing. I can't draw, I don't paint. There's something about language.
Got it.
And the way I use that to connect with people and to convey things and to, you know.
Makes sense.
Bring out emotions and stuff. And that connected with him.
Right.
And so we became close. And to this day, that's my boy. We talk all the time. There's not a week goes by that we're not in email communication.
Nice. That is nice.
It's lovely.
Yeah. Somebody who I feel like I would love to see more done for and around the legacy of people like them. You know, as you say, live less than 90. You know, so much times we allow legacies to go by in the Caribbean, you know.
You know, I mean, people would say everywhere. Like, I don't know if any of the great European artists were celebrated in their time.
Yeah.
It's often this case with art. And we have an undercurrent where we can say intellectually art is important for the culture.
Right.
But then we don't act as if it is. We don't invest in it in the same way. We don't support artists in the same way. But there is something very essential that as human beings allows us to grow, to think, that gives us vision, right? Ideas, that gives us an understanding of who we are, that then allows us to navigate this world, which art brings to us.
Yeah.
And if we appreciated it more in our actions, then you might see more of the legacy celebration.
Yeah.
You know, in a way, everybody going about their own business and they're saying, yeah, that's nice to have. I'm glad it's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard Lou, maybe it was Lou who had described it as like sometimes you reduce the arts and you just say, okay, you just call it culture, we call it entertainment, so that it doesn't seem as though. But if people like you are examples of it, you know, it's not a separation between the two. It's not an artist who lives in this place and a corporate person, or it's just one people, which is a beautiful thing that we have.
Yeah, and we're all creative. In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And when we tap into that, you know, cognitive development, all of that, but becoming our biggest, most powerful, beautiful selves. At Facebook, I'm saying Facebook because I'm just framing the time, which is before we became Meta.
Right.
We had on our campus art studios, music rooms, places where you could go wood shop.
Yeah.
Where you could go and cut and build things. And people would say, what is this doing on a tech company? And I said, because we recognize that creativity is going to help with innovation.
Of course.
That is a very concrete example of where you're supporting the creativity, you're supporting the art because you're understanding what it does for the whole person.
Gotcha. And if they are the edge of innovation, we must benefit from the.
That's right.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, more pictures I'd ask you about, people who you're next to, because some people who I admire greatly. I see you casually putting a post and putting captions saying, listening to Andrea Bocelli. Yeah. Random. What is come about? Is your friends who like Minshall? I need to understand. You're becoming the most interesting person I've ever met. What is the connection? How you reach there?
So the connection to Andrea Bocelli is that Bocelli is a blind, of course, opera singer who is a tech lover who uses these Ray-Ban Meta glasses. And the glasses have become a real godsend for blind people because of the integration with the AI and what it can do, describe your surroundings, read the menu, read your mail, tell you what currency in your hand, like all of these things that blind people before would have depended on another human being for, or an app in their hand. And so we had a connection there. And I went to do some fun stuff with the glasses with him.
Yeah. So you said he's like, I went
to. So live translation is one of the things. So
Gotcha.
He's speaking in Italian and I'm speaking in English, and the glasses is translating
live. All that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
So whatever he said in Italian, I would hear it said in English.
Right.
And what I said in English, he would hear it said in Italian.
Yeah.
So we could converse. I mean, things like this just could not exist before this technology. Imagine that, right?
Yeah. I remember one time there was an app that was launched. It was almost like voluntary. You could download it as somebody who could see, and somebody who was blind could, like if they needed help seeing something or partial vision, they would get a little ring on your phone, it would come up and I could see what the person looking at. So I got one call all the time and it was somebody who was trying to turn on the PlayStation, like something was stuck.
Do you know if it was called Be My Eyes?
Was it Be My Eyes? It might have been.
Be My Eyes is a partner of us at Meta.
I see.
And so the Meta Ray-Ban, we partner with Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes has 8 million volunteers all over the world who are sighted. And so through the technology in the glasses. So what makes the glasses really special is what we call the form factor. The fact that they're just sitting on your head. You don't have to take out a phone.
Of course.
Now you're losing the use of that hand. Right. Blind people really need use of both hands to know your surroundings. You might have a guide dog. You might have a cane. So having something that's sitting on your head. And then wherever you turn your head is going. Not like with the phone. Often they don't know if they're pointing it in the right direction. But with the glasses, yes, there's what's called POV, point of view calling.
Right.
So you can just command it with your voice and say, call a volunteer.
Yeah.
And it will dial in. It will get a volunteer somewhere in the world.
So I see what their points of view.
It will connect through, and the volunteer can see exactly what they're seeing. Help them, in the grocery. They're getting dressed. They want to know where my blue shirt that matching with this thing.
Yeah, lots of that.
Yeah.
I suppose.
And so but also with the glasses now, you can call your friend, your partner on WhatsApp and get point of view calling. Mm-hmm. So instead of a stranger volunteer, you can have a friend or family member.
Yeah, interesting. Huh?
And then the AI now can help. The AI can tell you what's in front of you too.
Of course, yeah.
So that gets better and better, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. So you have AI that helping you on your day-to-day if you need somebody to get them.
Yes. So Bocelli and I were vibing on the glasses and...
fan out and thing is cool. You're just cool. Because he to me is one of, to the world. Really,
everybody is a person. Everybody is a person. And they have the same issues you have. Yeah. And they have family members that are in trouble, and they have anxiety, and they didn't sleep last night, and they're going to the toilet the same way you go into it.
Got it.
So they're all people, and some people get more famous than others, but...
Got it. Like you.
Me, not in that category. The person I found out on, the only one ever, was Stevie Wonder.
You met Stevie Wonder too? Yes. Same thing? With glasses?
We talked about the glasses, yes. But I met him at an assistive tech conference.
Right.
And he's the only person in the whole world I ever wanted to meet.
Yeah. Right.
Consciously, my whole life, I want to meet Stevie Wonder. I just wanted to tell him thank you for all the joy he has brought to my life.
Yeah.
And then you know what? I didn't even get to say it. Because he was so charming and he just took over and he controlled the whole conversation and I forgot. And it ended with him and I singing a duet together.
Really? Recorded and thing?
Well, I was too in it to record it, and foolishly, because I had on the glasses, I could have recorded. But I was so lost in the moment. Because just as I was leaving, he said, wait, Maxine. And then he goes, I know this little girl, her name is Maxine. And the boy started singing Shakadima and Pliers about Maxine. And I was like... whose beauty is a bunch of roses.
Yeah, imagine that.
And if I ever tell it. And the next thing I know, we going, Murder, She Wrote with Stevie Wonder. So that was
I love it.
That was an exceptional.
Oh, you should record and send that to mommy. Tell mommy you can sing.
I know. All right. Yes. The singing wasn't the high for you not, it was the fact of it.
I can imagine. Yeah, just the
he's
fact. Yeah.
So clever, right?
You see so much with him. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he's another big tech person.
Yeah.
Love tech.
I see. I love it. So now I could segue into Facebook. The Facebook thing. How you went to
how did I even end up there?
Yeah. How
a lot of Trinidadians say, "Oh, you end up in Facebook."
Yeah, everybody want to know you get through. People want to.
I had a really bad day at work.
Right. Were you working at the time?
I was working at a law firm in New York.
Okay, got it.
And came home and said, "Nah, boy, rock bottom. I can't do this.
Yeah.
Anything else?" And Facebook had advertised on LinkedIn this position. So there's a kind of like step by step. People like how to get a job, right?
Yeah.
Like first you have to be aware of its existence.
Of course.
You have to do the step. You apply, right? Are you qualified? I was suffering from a thing that some women suffer from more than men. It's going to sound stereotypical, but there's research behind it.
True.
Which is men may be more confident. They're less likely to assume they won't get something.
Got it. Okay.
They will think you see 10 requirements. Yeah, man, I have all of that.
Yeah, regardless.
This time.
The enumerated requirements.
Yeah, good. Right? A woman is more likely looking and say, "Oh, no, well, I don't qualify because I only have 6 of those."
Gotcha. Yeah.
But try a thing.
Right, of course.
Right? So I applied. Anyway, I went, I interviewed. In the course of that, I did think, which is a thing people should do I know anybody who works here or knows somebody who knows somebody?
Right.
I knew somebody who knew somebody.
Of course. So
and important. I called them and I say, "Listen, I'm applying for this job. You could put in a good word." He said, "I could send your resume to them, but they ain't sentimental.
Nice.
They'll take a look at it. But they ain't going to give you the job because they know me. You're not that kind of party."
Yeah.
I said, "That's all right. I just want to get looked at."
Of course.
I just want the opportunity. They did that too. I got an interview. And even then, the interview, the first round, I said, "But I lick that up, boy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want this thing." Right? And I like it myself. And then I get a call from the search recruiter woman saying, "Yeah, you had to go back, you know." I said, "What?" "Yeah, they're not sure about A and B and C."
I see.
Yeah. And I was like, "What?" I mashed that thing up. But again, like, the ego thing. You had to handle that.
Of course, yeah.
And then, okay, so these are the things. And, one of the things was that, I wouldn't even we don't have enough time to get into all of the elements. What was 1 and 2 and 3?
Yeah.
But she told me what those were. And I said, okay, I'll go back in and focusing on those things. And even then, I know now that they were like, "Oh boy." Like I skated.
Yeah.
Once I was there.
Right.
I absolutely proved myself.
Got it. What was your original position you went for at that time?
It was something like Director of Diversity.
Got it.
But I was promoted maybe every year. And I was there till I was Chief Diversity Officer in very little time. And,
yeah, got it.
And, at the highest echelon working in the executive.
Of course. In the rooms everybody would have been.
Yes.
Yeah. So at that time, diversity was an attractive job for you. Was it the Facebook? Was it the diversity position? What was it really that attracted you to it?
I had a bad day at work.
Yeah, that was it.
And I needed something else.
I need to show people. When people see this timeline, they'll never believe how wow.
I was already doing diversity work at this law firm.
Got it. But, it sounds like you was always doing diversity work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except when they called me for the job at the law firm and said, "Would you come and do diversity?" I said to them, "What's diversity?" I'd never heard of it. I know what the word means, but I don't know what it means as a job. Because as you're right, it was like early days. Right. And they said, "Man, read up on it on the weekend and come in, you'll be good." And I did, and I got that job. So I was already doing diversity work, but I had lost confidence in it. I had come to feel like this is just smoke and mirrors. They say they want change, but not willing to do the things that would bring more opportunity, fair systems, all of that. And so I'd lost faith in it. And then this Facebook was, for the first time, looking for a person to come and start and run their diversity efforts there. So I had some experience in it, but I was a boy. So I said, "You know what? I can do this for 2 years.
See how it go.
see how it go. And then, I wanted to come back. Like, move closer to home.
Come back here.
Yes, here, or at least close.
Right, gotcha.
Work on things in Latin America and the Caribbean, etc. But then I got there and discovered that for all of these different ponds I have swum in my life, I didn't know there was one built just for me.
Yeah, really?
It was the place that was made for me.
Serious?
Where I'd never felt more, oh yeah, this is everything. This is my thing. This is my jam. To the point where my whole life people comment on how fast I speak.
Right.
When I was a lawyer here, I would go to court and sometimes the panel typist would go, what is Maxine doing?
Problem.
People calling it sick and thing, because then I write down every word and I talk like this and slow down. And so my whole life people would do that. And again, I would go, but why I have to slow down? Why you can't just think
Yeah,
faster?
got it, of course.
How come it's my problem? And I got there. Everybody talking fast like me.
You're home.
I was home, and the level of the problems they were trying to solve, and the way we were solving problems, and the way feedback went, and innovation, and it was all.
Yeah.
It was there that somebody very senior said to me, "All right, how are we solving racism?"
Got it.
Right, the fact that we could ask that question, that's an option. How are we doing this?
Of course.
So when you say, I never had the mindset of no, or why did I even try to create Caribbean studies? And I was like, well, because why not?
Yeah.
It's a thing to be done.
That's the kind of question you want to work on.
And so being in a place where that was the attitude of people, why couldn't we connect the whole world?
Of course.
Right? That didn't exist. I remember explaining it to my mother, who was like, well, what did it do at Facebook?
Yeah.
There are people working there? What? All of them people? What
I would imagine
by
then Facebook is, everybody have Facebook. It
but
doesn't seem like nothing happening.
I mean, 2014.
Yeah, I suppose, by then.
We were less than 1 billion people.
Yeah.
Now it's 4 billion, it's half the world.
Really?
And like 70-something% of the people who are internet connected.
Of course, yeah.
But to be in a place that was looking to do things that had never been done before, because why not?
Right. Yeah.
That's my job.
Of course. So I had this I think I'd finished. Lockjack had put out this Silicon Valley tour thing. So I say I'm going on that. I just wanted to see what it was. And we went and we did several tours.
Even with a flight connection you went?
Yeah.
Wow.
Through Panama
you
to
leave
San
Miami?
Francisco. It was the worst. That Panama, it was the worst. But we reached eventually. And we stayed downtown San Francisco, but every day we would go into Silicon Valley and do tours. We did Google, I think Intel. Facebook wasn't allowing tours at the time. So we just went to the Facebook
the pandemic?
sign. Was it? No, this is before the pandemic.
Okay.
But there's this big sign that we went there and take pictures. That was the closest we get to Facebook at the time.
Yeah.
But there was one place that we went to called, two I want to talk to you about. One was Institute of the Future. And they were talking about, it was just a research company. But they were doing these leap studies. So one of the things that they allowed us to sit in on or to observe was a session where they were talking about self-driving cars. This could be 2015, 16.
Okay.
So they were saying that by 2035, most of the world will be self-driving cars. What are the problems that the world is going to have then? And I listened to these people talk about this thing, and I was amazed that one of the things they came up with was organ transplants. Because now you don't have accidents, you don't have young people dying in car accidents. And so that was, it's putting themselves in that year and they say, okay, that is where we want to put funding. And that was what the whole thing was about. But in my little, again, not knowing what is diversity or anything, I watching this thing, and of course, we, our little group from Lockjack, is the only people looking black or anything in that space. And I uneasy is like, okay, so, and I remember one of my thoughts being, okay, so, all these white people, them alone know what's going to happen in 2035.
Yeah,
is it a dire experience when you walk into this company the first time?
Yeah. That makes me think we did, when we were coming out with the metaverse, we did a kind of promo thing where Mark Zuckerberg and myself and a couple other leaders, our avatars were in a room playing poker together, and we were kind of showing people how you could be present through these avatars. But it's a kind of future scene. Right. And I was there with my Bantu knots in the scene. And I remember so many people commenting saying, Black people make it to the future? Yeah. This was the proof. I was the one person in the spaceship.
Well, we make it at least.
Right,
yeah,
right,
one.
We
can start from there. That's a start.
Yeah. We'll be natural hunting. We inside. So yes, there is often the experience of me one boy.
Yeah, boy.
very rare air. That said, I looking outside. So I can't see me. I see in them. So I am also, so I'm conscious and I'm not conscious. On the one hand, I'm very present in the moment. What's the problem we're working on solving here? Okay, so I'm contributing to that problem to solve. With me out of it. I ain't seen me, so I'm not carrying a lot but should I speak up? Because look at me, how I different in this thing. On the other hand, I am conscious, but in a positive direction of my difference and my underrepresentation in the space.
Right.
And I'm conscious to say, well, all you're lucky you have me. Because if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't be getting this particular perspective. So thank goodness I am different because I can give a different perspective. And I'm different in a way that millions and millions of people in the world are. They're just not in this space. They're just not in this area. And time and again, I have to say, this was the place I was meant to be. Their attitude to my difference was one of appreciation for it. There were many battles I would fight and, I would say, but we should do this. And no. And maybe I didn't win that battle, but people would say, you made me think differently. And that different thinking develops their mind. And then how you apply that in another situation, things might go in a different direction there too, just because of the presence of my seeing things. And it's not just race and gender, but coming from a small place. That has been an element of my diversity. Because, look, I work at a place where 1 million people is a rounding error.
Yeah, I guess.
When you're talking billions.
I guess.
But what I see from the perspective of somebody from what to them is a small place brings insight.
Of course. That they might have never seen without your presence.
Understood. The talk I did at Wharton was called Numbers Only Take Us So Far, the Power of One. And I was talking then about how we had to change the way analytics is done. Because analytics focuses on big data sets. And therefore, what you might do is say, well, unless there are X number of people in this set, we can't give you insights. We need a certain number to have confidence. What that always does is leave out the small numbers. But there may be intense things going on in there that have application beyond.
That could help all of us.
That's right. And we're not getting the benefit of it. So here's another way to do analytics to get the value from those small data sets.
Right.
And so all of that to say that, yes, I know you walk in those rooms and you're like, wow, it's only me, boy, and only white people in the future. No, it's not only them in the future. Yes, there is an overrepresentation in terms of the people building the products, white and Asian. And, but where we can, we find the room,
of course,
to bring in the different perspectives. And you kind of scale the knowledge too. Like everybody I've worked with at Meta would say, boy, we learned so much. And now they take in that learning. So they may be in a room where there isn't a person who looks like us.
I understand, yeah, but they have, I am with you.
That only happens if you are willing to talk.
Of course.
Speak up, right? Give it. And I was not a technical person, so there were a lot of times you're in a technical discussion.
Right.
And yes, I might think, is this going to be stupid? Because have I completely misunderstood what's going on here, what this operating system is, etc. So that when I ask this question, and sometimes that happens and I consciously say, all right, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, how it here.
Right? Ask a stupid question. Cool.
Right.
People ask stupid questions all the time.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, you ask a question and maybe it's stupid, but somebody learns. The fact that you asking that question,
of course,
teaches.
Yeah, of course, and I like
maybe we weren't as clear.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that I never thought of it that way. People take away that learning is important. The second place I went to, as you bring up young Asians, is where I had a company called Plug and Play. It was like a business incubator. So when we went there, they have all these people who have all these brilliant ideas, and we were able to see like a pitch session where they come to talk about their ideas for whatever round of funding they're doing. Almost exclusively young Asian men, and almost exclusively white investors too. So I wonder sometimes if when positions like those created in companies like those, I like Mummy sometimes. I just be fascinated when I hear, is that people working there? All this do. I kind of want to know. When we did the tour in Google, everybody was swimming in a pool or playing piano somewhere. I was like, this is where I don't work. Nobody working at all.
Yeah.
But when is it that the companies, Facebook and otherwise, from your experience, conscious of this and they're trying to make efforts to diversify it in terms of how they hire and the ideas that they look at?
That was part of what I was doing as a chief diversity officer.
At that point in time.
Consciously looking at what is the makeup, because we want cognitively diverse teams.
So,
if you end up with too much of something, you're losing out on somebody's perspective.
Yeah.
And so yes, that was part of what we were trying
and you
to
say was doing, right? But even when you explain the role you're in now, you know, it feels very, very similar to me, to be honest, because you're in a space where you're constantly thinking of, okay, how do we get everybody included? How do we make this available for all people to solve the different problems? It sounds
some of the principles are the same.
Got it.
There's a different focus. I'm 100% focused on product now.
Right.
When I would have been focused before on things like recruiting.
Of course. I see.
People.
Makes sense.
I have a little bit still in people, trying to make sure we have fair systems to support the people who are there.
Got it.
But now this is like, how is this product working?
So moving from people to product, you're enjoying it still? You're still...
I'm learning again.
Yeah. So you will be enjoying it.
So it's a new space, enjoying, and then sometimes scared. I'm not a technical person.
Right.
And now, you know, the people I'm spending most time with are engineers and designers and people who understand how to build a product and what is the system and what's the difference between this and that. So it's like a whole new area, but that's exciting. Sometimes challenging, you know, am I going to say something stupid? That comes up more often if you're in a new area.
I guess.
And what do I have to learn? But boy, I good to ask questions.
Yeah.
I real good to ask questions. Find the people who you know. I could ask this person this question and they're going to think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But also, try and figure it out too. You see Meta AI? Meta AI being used by more than 1 billion people now, which is, you know, free in WhatsApp. Sure. I having conversations in WhatsApp. Yesterday I was at this conference, somebody asked a question in the audience. When in the break, I ask in Meta AI the answer to the question.
Yeah.
And with context, it is able to give me,
of course,
and I will say, give me sources that I can verify. So I'm learning constantly.
Yeah, me too, because I just see this thing come up on my WhatsApp the other day. I was like, wait, what is happening? Yeah, because a lot of times, like, I'm not sure if it's your experience abroad too, but a lot of people, when they say AI here, just say ChatGPT. So that's your direct competitor, yes? Or...
Yes, there's a fundamental difference in that our models are open source.
Got it.
Which means that we give it away for free. And anybody can then build on our models. You're not paying a fee. You have those tiers.
Yeah. And you need it.
So that's one of the differences. But it's leveraging AI for contextual information and, conversation and all that. I did a little demo yesterday at the AmCham conference where I had the glasses on.
Sure.
The glasses have the AI in them. And I was talking about the fact that you could build, if you were a restaurant in Trinidad, you could build for free on the Llama model a chatbot that would personalize, where you would, feed it with like your menu options and what distinguishes you. And you could give the data about your particular customers. And so when customers are using this now, it feels like so much of a better experience.
Got it.
And as I was doing that, I said to the glasses, hey, Meta, tell me what a doubles is in Trinidad. And the whole audience could hear it saying, a doubles is a food made with bara and la 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 la. And it's going on about the chana and the runny this and that. And then I said, tell me where I could find a good doubles in Trinidad. And it gave me 2 good suggestions, one on Saddle Road, one somewhere else, right?
Nice.
So all of that to say that the learning, am I excited? It's a whole new learning space for me. How does this technology work? How can we get it to work for everyone? How can we get it to bring value? And I have more opportunities of places to learn from because the technology is helping me too.
Nice. I guess, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I asking it questions about this new space. So I don't have to go to people all the time and embarrass myself. And
got it.
There's lots of ways to learn.
So one of my plans when I asked you to come here was so that you could tell young boys and girls in Trinidad, like, how is guy working Facebook? So far, my answer is really just go for it.
No, man. No.
Tell me.
Excellence buys you freedom and power. Everything I did with 100%.
Yeah.
So it's not like they hired me because I was a mediocre person in the job before that. Right? Or I didn't end up where I was because I was a mediocre lawyer or whatever. Right? Like, it's 100%. I'm learning all the time.
Right.
And that combination then gets me the next opportunity. But I'm also taking risks. I'm also going for things, not assuming that door is closed to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know of a tech company in the US who has found over the last 2 years a 14,000% increase in people applying for jobs there from Trinidad.
What?
Software engineers.
Really?
That's right. So they're here in Trinidad and they're applying. They can do it remotely.
I see. Good.
For jobs from these places.
Mm.
We have the talent. You have to know, like, A, be at the top of your game.
Right.
And then B, where are the opportunities?
Mm-hmm.
So how you get the job,
For it, yeah.
you got to know the opportunities, but you got to be doing well.
Of course.
And then you got to shoot your shot.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think, I don't have a linear path.
Yeah.
You know, my best friend here growing up, he always wanted to be a doctor. That's all he ever wanted to do.
Gotcha.
And I used to be jealous of him because he set out on that path from day one. And there were so many times along mine, I said, but where am I, boy?
Yeah.
And I don't know where I want to go next. I don't even have a target.
Yeah, you'll never think so.
But my thing was, I know I want to learn something else.
Sure.
And so my thing was chasing learning and justice. Yes.
Got it. Yeah, that's a common thread.
Was making the world more fair.
Yeah.
But that can take you in, so the principles, but I didn't have a end point.
Right.
So I would say to the boys and the girls looking for what do I do? How do I get a job at Facebook? Well, what are the skills you're developing? Is it the type of skills that Meta is looking for?
Sure.
I mean, if you were coming up now and had a facility for math and data and science, I would say, boy, you see AI.
That's the way.
What? What? Everybody looking.
Of course.
For AI specialists.
Yeah.
But then people are still looking for great everything else, right? And so you do your best at what you do. I would say make it a place where a space that you feel you are getting a reward from. And so my reward was always, am I learning here?
Sure.
Somebody else, it might be a subject matter.
Yeah, got it.
All right. I look at musicians and artists and I'm fascinated by them. And where their end is, they may not want to come and work at Meta.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So don't come and work at Meta just because it's a thing.
Yeah.
Think about what your thing is, what fills you.
Yeah, find your joy.
That's right.
Gotcha. I'll ask you one more question before you go, because these positions, again, when I go in there, I guess I see a glimpse of what a day looks like when a trainee. And of course, when we go to these companies, all the trainees who work, they come and they talk to me and they feed us well. All these sort of free kitchens that you'll have all over the place and so on.
It's
but
ridiculous.
It's known for being in Silicon Valley in particular, very high pressure jobs.
Yes.
How you manage that personally?
The pressure?
Yeah.
I guess my pressure comes from two places. I work with incredibly brilliant people. And you can feel the pressure of, oh my gosh, am I smart enough? Am I going to say a stupid thing? Can I keep up? And boy, the way I deal with that is to keep myself learning.
Got it.
The more I know, the more confident I feel. And, you know, you have to go outside of the bounds to learn.
Of course.
I'm listening to podcasts on AI. I'm reading books on it. I need to get myself in a position where I don't feel that stress as much because I feel more confident and competent.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is I happen to work at a place where the impact of what we do is so significant on the world. Every decision we make impacts the whole world.
Yeah.
That's a mind-blowing
of course
thing. And that can feel like a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And I allow myself to know that all we can do is do the best. And for me, the best is making thoughtful decisions. Not willy-nilly. Thinking through pros and the cons and the consequences. Now, to do that, you have to have enough information.
Of course.
You have to prepare yourself to do that. And then doing the best. And if it happened to have been the wrong decision,
correct.
Give yourself some grace. So the pressure, you know, some different characteristics of the pressure.
Sure.
And then you ground yourself in who you are. I'm here a lot now because this year I felt I needed community more.
Yeah.
And so I've come back to Trinidad more this year than I have in the last 10 years. Except for Carnival, where I'm always present.
Oh, yeah, Carnival, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, seeing heavy soca in Instagram and things.
My joy, serious. My connection, and That is the happiest I've ever been. Is every single carnival.
Yeah, so no matter where you work, non-negotiable.
Oh my gosh, no! Oh, but all of them tell the story of when I was interviewing and thing, and I said, one thing you'll have to know is if I take this job.
Interview?
Absolutely.
Maxine, your belly is?
Yeah. Other people say to me too, why do you post about Carnival? They're going to think you're not serious, even while I'm working there. And I said, they're going to look at my work and see whether it's serious or not.
Of course.
Not this. No, I want people to know you're entitled to joy too.
Yeah.
So I've come more often because I'm at a point where, okay, I need this. So part of dealing with the stress is figuring out what you need. For me, community.
Got it.
Is important, and this connection to this place.
Makes sense.
And so giving yourself that too.
I guess.
What you need. You know, you don't know how to stay in the stress. Just there's no honor in that. Think about what you need. Ask for help.
Right. Got you. And you did say that you plan to be home more often.
Well, I have been this year.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I catch you home. It's quite by coincidence. I was telling them before you started that I just say, you know what, maybe I'll just ask.
I know,
hopefully
such great timing.
It listen perfect. When you said next week, I was like, why not? You know,
yeah, man, we manifest that.
Yeah, we did. So I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you sharing so openly on these things too. And if you're back anytime, wherever.
You're tired to hear me talk now?
Not tired. It's only because they go pull you out of here. They always come in to promote, you know. But I think it was great. I think it's really, really helpful. You are, you know, when we see one of us in a place, you know, the countries get proud. I was telling you, it was just short of a national holiday. You know, if it was they say Maxine Day, if they didn't have so much holidays, you know, probably
if you do that, you would have sink me. The amount of people calling me to fix their Facebook, the Instagram to get a blue tick.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Well, when I asked you about the boys and girls coming, I thought you was going to say, well, hey, Trini here now, so we just hope not anybody will come. We try. It was worth a shot.
No, man, you gotta work for that.
Of course.
I want you to have equal opportunity.
Got it.
But you gotta come with the goods.
Got it. Thanks a million, Maxine. This was a pleasure. I appreciate it.
We have a bountiful, beautiful country, and I want people to invest in it so that we can live our best lives together.